everybody, and welcome back to Techstrong Unplugged. This is episode 9 of our series, and I'm your host, Atan Solomon. On Techstrong Unplugged, we dive into all things tech and get people up to speed with everything happening across the industry. Recently, our co-host, Cassandra Chin, went to the Great International Developer Summit, also known as GIDS 2024. At GIDS 2024, Cassandra sat down with Daniel Hinojosa, who is a self-employed developer and educator with 25 years of experience. Daniel discusses his journey from focusing on Java to incorporating other technologies like Scala and Kafka. He also touches on the importance of continuous learning and effective teaching techniques. Finally, Cassandra and Daniel explore the intersection of AI and Java, as well as the ethical concerns and potential for AI in various industries. Without further ado, let's head over to GIDS 2024.
Welcome back to Techstrong Unplugged. I'm your host, Cassandra Chin, and today we're here with Hinojosa.
Yep. My first name's Daniel. Oh, I was looking for my badge. My first name's Daniel, and my last name's Hinojosa. So they had to switch the names, so that's why it was a little confusing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Hinojosa is a derivative of Hinojo, which is fennel.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Can you do a short introduction?
I'm a developer. I've been self-employed since 1999, so I think I'm going on in my 25th year, which is kind of interesting. So, so 25 years. I just realized that right now. So in December, I'll have been self-employed for 25 years. I've been doing a lot of development. I staked everything on Java. So at the very beginning, one of the reasons why I went self-employed was to build a business around this language called Java, and probably one of the best decisions I ever made since then.
What kind of work do you do when you're self-employed?
I've done a lot of things, and I decided to start my work as a contractor who does code for institutions. It could be education, it could be government, it could be a wide range of different things. So I decided to be that Java consultant. This was at a time where a lot of companies didn't have that infrastructure, didn't have programmers. So it was a really good prime time in order to do that. But as time went on, everyone started creating their own IT departments, having their own IT campuses where they would hire loads of programmers. So they all started having their in-house thing. And I started to integrate things like presentations, where I'm on the No Fluff Just Stuff tour, and do instructional training. So I have a lot of customers for that, and that's a blast as well. One of the things I like about it is that I get to talk to other people, and whenever I do trainings or things like that, one of the best parts about that is I always end up learning more than the audience just based on their questions. So I absolutely love that part. That's one of the greatest things about it.
What is the training exactly?
I do trainings, typically Java. So, of course, since I have a lot of experience with Java, it will be that. But also my other favorite language is Scala, which is a JVM-based language. I do a lot of Kafka trainings. I do DDD trainings and, a few other things. I recently created a list since I've gotten older. I've created a list of the technologies I'm going to pay attention to and really just focus on that. I was guilty of chasing bright, shiny objects all the time. But now I'm getting older. I'm just going to constrict that and just, focus on that. But those are typically the trainings that I focus on today.
So what is in your focus bubble?
Yeah, in that focus bubble, I have Java, Scala. I have architecture, domain-driven design, including some of those. I have some things like video editing and some other things that I'd like to include with that. Machine learning is absolutely one of them, and how to deploy that. ML ops. So those are some of the few. I'd have to take a look at the full list there, but yeah.
I think there's an issue around Java and machine learning not really being compatible.
Falling behind, yeah. So Java really needs to catch up. I'm really excited about some of these new Java enhancement processes that are coming out. The foreign function memory interface is one of them, to where we could tap in a little bit better natively to the underlying OS, because Python has certainly done that. If you take a look at most Python libraries, underneath everything is just going to be a C library. Java, I think, felt the need to tap into that operating system a little bit more. So they're going that route, and also vector API on how to tap into the processor and do calculations a lot faster. So I think Java still has the opportunity to catch up. I think they've fallen behind, but a lot of it was, I wouldn't say a surprise, but Python took, ran away with it for quite a while. So Java has some catch up to do, but I'm pretty confident they're going to do well. But they do have a lot of work.
There's a lot of Java developers, so I'm definitely hoping it gets there.
Yeah, absolutely. Yep, absolutely.
And you mentioned that term earlier, which I totally forgot.
Oh, yeah, Pomodoro technique. So, yeah, Pomodoro technique, Italian for tomato is what Pomodoro stands for. And I'll recommend this to anyone. If you are a student, even if you're like a grade school student, if you're in college, I wish someone told me this when I was in college, but hey, it is what it is. I've been doing this for about 10 years, and the idea is if you have a thing you need to do and you want to focus on that one thing, you will estimate the number of Pomodoros that it takes in order to do it. One Pomodoro is 25 minutes with a 5-minute break. If you're someone who suffers from things like back pain and a few other things, do the Pomodoro technique. I think you're going to do well. And I'm not going to say it's going to be some kind of miraculous thing, but getting up is going to be a key factor in a lot of things. One of the effects that you get from it is not only less back pain from sitting down too much, but have you ever had that effect that you were trying to solve a particular problem and it was really, really hard, and you've sat down on it and you're suffering, you can't come up with a solution? But the moment you get up and you walk away, within that 5-minute time, you're like, oh, that's what it is. I just remembered what it is. Oh, this is going to be a much better idea. That's the thing that you're trying to achieve with that Pomodoro effect. Constantly getting up and thinking about your particular problems, because you'll always solve the problems when you're not on the computer. So 25-5, 25-5. You do that 4 times and then you take a longer break.
That actually happens to me a lot where I'm at the computer and sometimes I just forget what I was supposed to do.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you forget the most important task and you start doing other random things.
Yeah, and that's the other thing. It's a 25-minute, but you have to be focused on one particular thing. That way you don't, look at that web page, I'm going to go ahead and do that. Yeah, and so it keeps you on track. And thanks for bringing that up, because that's one of the absolutely major good points about using that Pomodoro technique. Been using it for 10 years, and I usually don't enthusiastically recommend something like this, but Pomodoro's technique has absolutely been there. And I think if you have, consistency with it, aim first for maybe 5 Pomodoros first, but, get used to it. I try to aim for 12, which is, if you don't have any meetings, that's 6 hours of work. And I think you're going to get a lot out of it, and it'll kind of push you forward. So if you need that sort of thing, I think you really enjoy that.
What kind of work would you use the Pomodoro technique on?
Definitely not meetings, for one, because meetings are just so random in nature. So those kind of days you would probably have 5 or 6 Pomodoros. But if you have a programming task, if you have recordings, since I know you do recordings, tasks that you need to do, tasks that you need to focus on. I need to study for this. I need to write a paper. I need to do these sort of things. Pomodoro technique is where that's going to work. Absolutely amazing. And it's going to help you get up so that way you're not sitting and you're not suffering, over a particular task over and over.
How do you deal with the blingy messages which keep calling for your attention while you're working?
Don't do it. Yeah. So if you have, don't look at your email. But here's the thing. It's 25 minutes for doing that, and it's not a lot of time. So if you don't respond quickly to that email message, you have that 25 minutes. You should respond to people, and we just saw a talk on Ken Cousin on managing your manager. You have to report or respond to requests. But 25 minutes isn't that long, and that's one of the really nice things about that 25 minutes. If someone interrupts you, the idea for a Pomodoro technique is you can say, let me just finish this. I have about 5 minutes in my Pomodoro, or you could just say, I have 5 minutes left, and that's not a long time. And if you build up a trust that you're always going to get back to a particular person, then, more and more people are going to leave you alone at that critical time.
I see. So they have to get used to your style?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, your nuances. But if other people ask about it, and I've introduced people to the Pomodoro technique using that. So
Do you ever recommend it in your talks?
I do. Every once in a while when it come up, and if it's going to be relevant. I did have a talk on Pomodoro technique itself, but I haven't done that in quite a long time. But yeah, I'll usually recommend that. I'm trying to think about when I have used that every now and then. But yeah, I'll just name drop it every once in a while.
Okay. Sometimes it's good to take a break from the heavy technical content.
Yeah, you know what? Someone uses it on the weekends, and I gave it a try. I like playing video games, watching YouTube, things like that. But I find myself sitting, enjoying my life as well. So every once in a while, I'll do a Pomodoro technique on the weekends where I'm just relaxing or playing a video game or doing something. And then I'll do 25 minutes of playing a video game. That way I get up because I have dishes to do, laundry, feed the dogs, tend to the yard or whatever on the weekends. And so in my 5-minute breaks, I'll go to do that. So I don't do that all the time because weekends are a little bit sacrosanct. You gotta relax and stuff like that. But if I need to do something on the weekends and I don't feel like doing it, I'll do a reverse Pomodoro technique on the weekends.
It might be better than the usual procrastination.
That's the thing, yeah. It helps. You got to do something, and then those little things just add up, and then that way you don't feel like at the end of the night, I got to do all these. So that's really nice.
Is there anything else you want to talk about?
Yeah, I think just like where I'm at now, everything's going to change. So the things you sign up for today, if you were interested in particular techniques and things like that, be flexible. On it. There's a lot to learn. The thing you're doing now is not always going to be the thing that you're going to end up with. And that's just nature, and that's the way that business works. So be flexible, learn something new. And I'll go ahead and include the Pomodoro technique in this. If you want to learn something new, I know this works out. I did this with a closure programming language. I had told myself I'm going to do 2 Pomodoros for me in the morning, because that's when my brain is really squishy and super absorbent. Do 2 Pomodoros at the beginning of a day to learn something new, or end of day. You choose the time of day where your brain is the most absorbent. Do 2 Pomodoros every work day. Don't do it on weekends, but every work day. You're going to find you're going to learn a lot about a particular technology, actually very quickly by doing so. So that's a really cool technique. And as a reward, everything that you learn, go in and sign up for a local user group. That's the way I got started. So, try a Java group, a Ruby group, a Python group, a machine learning group. Look for user groups in your area and tell them what you know. And then who knows where you're going to go from there. Life is great that way.
I feel like different user groups actually have different age demographics.
They do. Yeah, I think the Java demographics are getting older, but, we always want, new people to sign up and do talks and things like that. I think there's that. And I think there's also going to be a shift if Java, and I'll say when, when Java catches up on the ML space. It could be they're going to have the mindshare again, and we're going to get young people in. So just like an ocean, things change, movements change, and we'll see where it go from there.
That's actually a really good point. Once Java and AI meet, then there'll be a huge change.
Yep, absolutely. Or at least that's what I'm counting on. Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Maybe points in your talk or...
So I'm here at GIDS. Of course, GIDS 2024. This is the first time I've ever been here, so... everything's been really excellent. I've been doing a couple of Kafka talks. I did a just get to know Kafka. I'm now, later on this afternoon, I'm going to be doing a Kafka streams with KSQLDB. That one's really exciting. So that one is take a pub sub and do something with it immediately. So if you take, for example, someone submitting a credit card request or something like that, I want to take that information and I want to ingest it and then decide whether I want to give them a credit card or not. That's a stream process. And you do that very quickly. And it's a real-time ETL, or extract, transform, and load. And the ETL part, one of the things that one presentation that I have is machine learning data pipelines, which is use a streaming framework to extract, and as part of the transformation, submit that over to a machine learning network. In my presentation, I use TensorFlow serving. So if you get a credit card report, submit that to TensorFlow serving, and it'll come back with the percentages as to whether you want to provide this person a credit card or not, based on some sort of training model. And then you can go ahead and publish that back into another Kafka topic. Kafka is great because they have, for every topic, you could take the information for it and pipe that over into a database. So it's a lot of fun.
So isn't TensorFlow like AI JavaScript backend?
It's a JavaScript, but it's also Python. I think I got started with Python, if I'm not mistaken. So are developed in Python.
Are credit cards now using AI to determine if they're valid?
I'm pretty sure they are. I don't work for a bank, but I'm pretty sure AI is used for that. And I'm pretty sure hopefully they're doing it responsibly. I've been attending a lot of talks here just about AI, and I think most of us in the technical community know this, that AI is great, but not to be fully trusted at the first round or second round or third round, right? Always doubt your AI is always a good thing, because you don't know what the models are looking at. You don't know how they're hallucinating and things like that. Always monitor your AI.
Do you think it brings up ethical issues when you have AI deciding things?
Yeah, absolutely. So I am, we're going off the political cliff here, but I'm a firm believer of, police or, airport security and a lot of these, any kind of law enforcement that are using AI. I get really nervous about it. Whenever your civil liberties are at stake, I don't like the idea of AI. I was just reading an article this morning about police using AI to automatically fill out police reports. I'm horrified at that prospect but lawyers need to step in as well. I'm a big fan of lawyers when it comes to AI. I know that's probably I just made your video controversial, by the way. I think there is a really huge opportunity. If you want to invest in it, law and AI is, I think, going to be a very satisfying job. I think it's going to be a very lucrative job, and it's going to be a big necessity. I think if you want to ever decide for that kind of career, asking questions of where did you get this? How did you train your model? Why did it come up to this decision? I need to see the training model. I need to see the data that it was involved as part of any kind of litigation, because you'd hate to go to prison over some AI model making some kind of, hallucination that you should be in jail for some crime that you didn't commit. So, that's where I'm leery on AI. But AI for credit card applications, yes, with a but. People with credit card, there could be one of the ideas that someone told me about Brian Slutton. He said that if you bring in, and part of the hallucination is, if you bring in a zip code as a column, called a feature as well, if you bring in that zip code and the training model trains on your particular zip code, then it could be, hey, you live in a poorer community because that zip code is associated with a poorer community, and so therefore you're not going to get a credit card, just purely based as a bias on your neighborhood. It could be you're doing well. It could be that, you started to live in a poorer neighborhood and you're doing a lot better. But if it doesn't detect that, and if you don't include that in the training model, you're going to be pigeonholed, and, you're not going to be able to get, credit for opening a business or getting a house or other things like that. So there are huge detriments. I mean, they could be really small, like what zip code you're in.
I think that's where the lawyers come in.
Lawyers, yeah, I know. It's all about go lawyers, but as far as this AI thing, I think it's going to be something that we're going to have to take a look at legally. The other thing is, the copyright. Whenever we use a model, there's data that it took things from, and some of it is somebody's copyright. Someone owned that, and so there's a lot going on there. There's a comedian, Sarah Silverman, who I think she sued one company about, hey, these jokes come from me. you got to pay me for that. So lawyers everywhere. Yeah. So yeah, we'll see how that turns out.
Probably over the course of a year or two, there will be lots of fun things going on.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's the new world. So, and we need to figure out how we're going to adjust to AI. But yeah, I don't think it's a magic. I don't think it's a magic bullet. I think it's really helpful as developers. I think it's great, and they do offer solutions. But again, always have that doubt. Always have your suspicion that maybe this isn't the right way to go about it. But I think it's a wonderful tool.
I think we covered a lot of interesting topics today.
Yeah.
Maybe a little controversial, but
Yeah.
it's interesting.
Yeah, that's right.
So thank you for talking to me today.
Absolutely.
It's been great.
Sandra, yeah, absolutely great. Thank you very much.